to turn on the mics. Hello, and welcome to B Shifter. John Vance, Nick Brunacini, Josh Blum. Today, we have audio clips. It's one of our popular segments when we're able to bring audio to you from some departments out there doing Blue Card, and we have a couple of great examples of Blue Card in action today. So what's our first clip that we're going to listen to, Josh?
Yeah, so the first one, back to Las Vegas. It's like Groundhog Day. We've been there for, I don't know, it seems like we've been there for a year, but like for a month. But here, just some audio. House fire. We got to talk to the company officer that was first due to this. There's some lessons to be learned, in it, but still a really good example of an incident. Just a small house, regular contents. But there was limited access around the building. They were called to a working fire, so we can just go to the audio and we'll just break it down and talk about it.
Engine 4 is on scene at the given address. I'm in front of a small single-story house. I've got nothing showing. Engine 4 is going to investigate what will be the offense strategy. All units level 1. This will be Houston Command.
That's probably Houston Command.
Engine 201 level 1. Copy 201, copy level 1. Engine 1 level 1. Copy engine 1 level 1.
Engine 14 stage.
Copy 14 stage. Truck 1 level 1. Engine 201 from command. Engine 201 vital. 201, bring your crew forward. I need you to complete the 360. You're going to have to force an entry on the Delta side of the house. Engine 201, copy. Complete 360, force entry on the Delta side of the house. Fire dispatch from command.
Houston Command, go ahead.
360 is not complete due to a locked gate. We do have smoke coming from the front door. This will be a working fire. Engine 4, your phone lines to the alpha side for fire control. Primary search will remain offensive. Engine 1 from command. Engine 1 vital. Have the engineer get engine 4 water supply. Come on deck, alpha side.
Yeah, so the front end of that, they got called to a working fire, but they get there, nothing showing, which is, common that you pull up and there's nothing really visible. So on this, we'll end up hearing it later too, that the house was buttoned up pretty tight, actually had rollers, like shutters, rolling shutters on every window. So that just made it, that much more tight and concealed. You heard that first due company officer give a pretty good size up, but there wasn't a ton of information. All those other units were piled on top of him. I mean, there was nothing to do at that point, like still trying to figure out what was going on. So they just all level one staged. Got one company to give that follow-up report because there was a limited access issue with a gate of getting all the way around the building. And they were forcing entry on the front. Then they come right back with that follow-up report confirming they do got a working fire. They're stretching lines, offensive strategy. So completed the initial radio report and gave a follow-up report, all together and hit all of those points, using the system that they've trained on and that they work through and use, every single day.
Copy engineer water supply on deck outside. Truck 1 from command. Go for truck 1. Truck 1, go to the roof. Give me a roof report. Truck 1 copies. Go to the roof report. Engine 14 from command.
Engine 14.
Bring your crew on deck alpha side. Bring your rig gear.
Working counter on deck, alpha rig gear. Engine 8 on scene. Command Battalion 1.
Go Battalion 1.
Command Battalion 1, I copy. You're going interior for fire control. Engine 201's doing a 360. Engine 1's getting water supply. Engine 14's on deck. Truck 1's going to the roof. That's correct. You need can report also. Command.
That's correct, Chief. We just made entry in the structure part 3. We have smoke to the ground. No heat. I need someone to complete that 360. Give me a Charlie side report.
Command copy. Break dispatch. Battalion 1.
Battalion 1, go ahead.
Dispatch Battalion 1 is now Houston Command. It's going to be an offensive strategy. Command's located to the Alpha Delta corner.
So now we heard, the battalion arrived, command had already given some other assignments, but because of the system and the battalion, responding in, able to listen as they're coming to the incident and then get to see what's going on, they were able to give out, the assignments that had been assigned, what was going on, ask for a can report, and then have a solid command transfer to keep it moving forward. So, started out solid with the mobile IC, giving that initial radio report, giving some assignments. The strategic IC arrived, did the command transfer, verified, the position of the units, verified the strategy, and then, from that point, was in command of the incident, got a can report from Engine 4 inside of what was going on. They were still searching for the fire, limited visibility, smoke to the floor, but, they had no heat. So it was taking them down that path of a vent limited fire with just limited visibility, and they were still waiting on that other engine 201 to give them a 360 with the follow-up. So, in this case, maybe critical factor based, not saying they shouldn't do a 360, they had to assign somebody to do it, but, in that part of the world, there's not many basements, but there could be. In my part of the world, in the Midwest, when they forced the front door, if they saw smoke to the floor, it's we ain't going in here until we verify the whole basement piece. So it comes back to making decisions based off of known factors, not just make it up and just do the same thing every single time. And they were getting a follow-up report. It just hadn't come out yet. So we'll hear that here in a minute.
Engine 201, command.
Engine 201, bye.
Engine 201, command. When you complete that 360, go ahead and give us a report.
Command Engine 201, 360 is complete. On the Bravo Charlie corner of the structure, we have smoke coming from a window. All of the windows are covered with some metal roll down. I think if we can cut this metal roll down in the Bravo Charlie corner, we might be able to get a hose line in this window.
Command, copy. You're going to cut the window shutter on the Bravo Charlie corner. Radio before you apply water from the exterior so the engine 4 knows.
Command, Engine 201, I'm sending one of my firefighters to Engine 4 to bring a hose line to the Charlie side.
Command, copy.
Command, Truck 1 with the roof report.
Go ahead, Truck 1.
Truck 1 on the roof of 3. Stable, we do have smoke coming out of 2 vents on the Charlie side, right in the center. I feel we make a cut. I see where the crews are. We'd be ventilating properly.
I copy that, Truck 1. Try to position over the Bravo Charlie corner. We think that's where the seat of the fire is. Hold off on your cut until we get word from Engine 4 inside.
Truck 1 copies. In position, standing by.
Engine 4, command.
Engine 4 by.
Engine 4, command. Can you give a can report? Engine 201 thinks the fire's in the Bravo Charlie corner.
Engine 4 copies. We're interior, about the center of the structure. We're not able to locate the seat of the fire. I need some ventilation in here, and also another crew to complete a primary search. We're 75% on air. R3.
Command, copy. Need an additional crew to help with the search. You ready for vertical ventilation? Do you feel like this probably isn't in the attic and that this is on your floor? Sounds like it's on your floor.
That's affirmative. I'm thinking it's a room in contents, so it's not able to locate it yet.
Command, copy. Truck 1, go ahead with the vertical ventilation.
Truck 1 copies. Go ahead with vertical.
Yeah, so as we listened to that, Strategic IC was coordinating all the efforts on the fireground. Everybody was running everything, through command. Command was controlling the communications process. Companies were letting them know what they were doing. The whole ventilation component piece, the truck was there, gave a report, but, held off on the ventilation until command gave them, orders and kind of coordinated that with what was going on inside the building. And then that engine company coming back and saying, hey, we're on the corner, and I'm sending one firefighter back to stretch a hand line. They're in the warm zone, and that just brought command up to speed on, okay, so now they do have a hand line back there into place. And before that happened, really, that if you cut that shutter, don't put any water through that window. Make sure we coordinate that with Engine 4 if that is going to happen. So that's not just to do something because I want to do something. It was the whole thing was coordinated. Everybody was operating under one incident action plan that was being driven by the strategic IC that was really started with the mobile IC. So,
and the goal was fire control. So while they're pushing towards that, he's coordinating on those task levels to kind of keep the tactics right. And you can hear him talking about the search, but everything going on right then was to get rid of the hazard. So it was, and if you're the ops chief sitting in your office 10 miles away, it's under control. You know what's going on, and you're comfortable with it. It's it should be happening.
Yeah, that's a great clip too of the command transfer. The command transfer couldn't have happened better. I mean, if you're hearing that, it sounded clinical almost. It sounded like we did it at a cert lab. I mean, it was just very by the book. All the good information was transmitted, and they had some big things going on here because not only did they not know where the fire was, but these roll-up shutters that they had certainly is a huge critical factor because it's going to limit not only your egress, but also hold the fire in and or create a flow path once you open it up.
Yeah, and I think when you look at all that, like 1, 2, 3 progress reporting, and you're hearing the reports of what's really going on, that company inside wasn't giving you. They gave you like a limited visibility thing, but they weren't really saying anything about heat. So it's like, okay, that's kind of taking you down that path of, probably vent limited, and this thing was all buttoned up. We had to force entry into it. Can't see a lot of what's going on. So the strategic IC wasn't in big fear of like, oh, they can't find the seat of the fire. It's been a while and it's going sideways, because they could also see what was going on at the building, and there were no other companies around the building giving anything that was like, we have pressurized turbulent smoke, or some kind of vent path going on. They were truly addressing the critical factors, like what was really going on, not, making up, something that wasn't there, or, making it something it wasn't. So,
well, you talk about size up +3. The company officer there of Engine 4 knew what needed to be done, not only the first couple of tasks, but he wanted that 360 report to really find out. He knew it wasn't completed. He had some access problems, but then reminding command, hey, I still need that 360 for us to really complete an IAP, I thought was very good too.
Yeah, and just so everybody's on the same page, obviously, John Vance, our host, has edited that video up to make it, shorter. So that was really like 10 minutes of video that we listened to over a much shorter period of time. So all those companies in that city do pile on each other pretty fast, but they level one stage, and they're there to be assigned when they're ready to be assigned, and they only use what they needed to use to solve the problem.
Excellent. So what else are we going to listen to? We've got another clip for everybody today.
Yeah, so this second one, again, Las Vegas Fire Department. They share a lot of their audio with us, and we're happy that they do. They're doing a fine job for being engaged with the system for the time frame that they have been. So this one, fire in a 2-story building, and they end up getting a forward boss here, a walking boss assigned. So we want to use that, and like, what does that sound like, and how does that go? And it meets all the like benchmark requirement things that we look at when we're assigning a boss forward. Like, they'd had 3 companies already in position. And then once that company officer, when that support officer gets there, there was the aide to the battalion that he pushed forward, because that's who he had to use then, and he needed to get somebody there. He gave him the who's your assignment, what's your assignment, and who's working for you. So just like we assign a company task, location, objective, command gave that aide to the battalion a task, location, and objective, and said, hey, when you get there, let me know, and then you really got it. So we'll just walk through and break this down too. But the initial radio report and assignments and all that on the front end on this one, pretty dialed in once again.
Fire dispatch from Engine 5.
Engine 5, go ahead, sir.
We're seeing smoke in the area. Go ahead and upgrade this to high.
Confirm H level.
Yeah, it's reported. It's a commercial building, right?
That's affirmative. I'll upgrade it now.
Fire dispatch from Engine 5.
Engine 5, go ahead, sir.
Arrive, 2-story, commercial, medium-sized building with lights showing throughout the second floor. Will be in an offensive strategy. All units continue in. This will be Charleston Command.
Copy on Charleston Command.
Command Engine 10. Command from Engine 10. We're staying level 1. Command Bravo 10, we're catching your hydrant. Engine 10, you'll be fire attack with my crew on the second floor. Engine 10 copies, fire attack with your crew. We have a fire 5. Fire dispatch from Charleston Command with a follow-up.
Go ahead, sir.
We do have a working fire. It's in the middle of the alpha side of the building. Looks like it's not extended beyond the room and contents at this point. No special circumstances.
Copy that, sir. On a working.
Truck 1, go to the roof up, set up for potential vertical ventilation. Give me a roof report. Truck 1 copy, setting up for vertical ventilation.
Command Rescue 5, level 1. Command Battalion 1.
Battalion 1, go ahead for command.
Command Battalion 1, I copy. You've got Truck 1 going to the roof. Engine 10 has your crew going to the second floor. If that's correct, give me a can report. I'll assume command.
That is correct. We have 5 personnel interior making a push to the fire right now.
Battalion 1 copies. Dispatch Battalion 1.
Go ahead, sir.
Dispatch Battalion 1 is now Charleston Command. This is going to be an offensive strategy. Go ahead and strike a second alarm. Have the second alarm stage at Charleston and Rancho.
Copy, second alarm for Charleston and Rancho.
Engine 10 ready for water.
Dispatch, put the second alarm units and TAC channel on the notes. I'll get them when I'm ready.
Copy, sir. It'll be TAC 8.
Yeah, so here again, that fast attack mobile IC gets there, didn't hit every single point, I guess you could say, but, pulled up on a commercial building, knew there was a fire on the second floor, had smoke in the area, made it a working fire, came back in the follow-up report and gave some other information because when they first pulled up, they didn't have, all the information. Gave one other assignment. Command gets there, another solid command transfer of verifying position and function, what they were doing, commercial building. So they assigned or asked for that second alarm assignment. That first company had assigned 2 companies to stretch the first line into a commercial building, which we all know is totally realistic. It gets that line moving, a little bit faster, water on the fire, faster. So, again, the whole front end set up, and it's like handing a gift to the strategic IC when the mobile IC sets it up really nice on the front end like that.
Command for fire attack priority report.
Go ahead.
We have no heat, low visibility. We have entered with 3. We're making our way to the fire now.
Copy that, Engine 10. What's your accountability for Engine 5's crew?
We have both the firefighters from Engine 5 with me interior.
Copy. I'm going to show your power supply. Let me know if that is incorrect.
Command Engine 4, level 1.
Engine 4, you're going to be on deck. Set up a rig cache, please, on the opposite side. Secure utilities.
Engine 4, copy on deck. Rich. Alpha side. Command Engine 1's level 1.
Engine 1, command. I want you to go to the south side of the building on deck. I believe I'm going to have you check an exposure, but I want you to go to the south side for now.
Copy south side on deck.
Rescue 10, command.
Command Rescue 10, level 1.
Rescue 10, you're going to be fire medical, position to block Charleston for us with EMS 1.
Rescue 10, copy.
Command Engine 3, still level 1.
Engine 3, go ahead and come on deck as well.
Copy on deck. Command for truck 1. Roof report.
Go ahead, truck 1.
We have normal roof flows. We do have significant smoke from the whirly bird. We're going to be checking stability of the roof right now, but it looks good from where we're at.
Command, copy, truck 1. Looks like this might be possibly extending in the attic, so go ahead and get in position, but don't cut yet. Make sure you sound well.
Okay. Command from fire attack with priority traffic.
Go ahead.
Command, we have the fire knocked down on the second floor. I need a crew with hooks so we can open up the attic space.
Command, copy. Break. Engine 4, command.
Engine 4.
Engine 4, command. You have that rig cache set up on the north side of the structure.
Yeah, it's set up on the north side. We're going to move it closer to the stairwell so it can get upstairs.
Copy, Engine 4. Go ahead and leave that for someone else. I want you guys to take your rubbish hooks up to the second floor and assist. Engine 10, I'm going to make the Battalion 1 aid Division 2 once he gets in position.
So here, once again, they're coordinating efforts. Their, focus is the fire attack. That company that was inside that stretched out first line comes back with priority traffic that they had found to see the fire, had water on the fire, but they needed support to help them, with checking for extension. And when we start talking about the critical factors, we know when a company on the roof says you got turbulent smoke from a whirlybird on the roof, it starts to take you down that path of good chance that it's in the attic space. So, command acknowledged that, said, hey, this thing might be in the attic already, but still kept the efforts coordinated. Then the truck didn't open anything up, but it was putting together what was going on inside with what was going on outside. And then once that company said that they had water on the fire, they were making progress, and then he supported them with support work of checking for extension. The game kind of changed a little bit because you're in a different place. So you're back to that strategic decision-making model because you got known information from a company inside that you got water on the fire, and now they're just verifying those all 7 sides that there is no, extension going on. And before it stopped, multiple companies working in that IDLH through one entry point. So the incident commander was thinking about, hey, I got this on-deck position. They're on the second floor, so they moved that on-deck position forward a little bit closer to where the work was happening to keep pace with that work-rest cycle, and took their own driver, because that's all they had at that point with 3 companies operating inside, and pushed them forward to end up being Division 2, which we're going to hear in a minute. So, I mean, none of this is happening by accident. It's happening because they have documents that say this is what we're going to do, and then they've trained on it over and over and over again. And at this organization, we know because we spent so much time with them, and I mean, they're doing really well, and they continue to strive to do better. Every single Friday, they come together and do Blue Card Command Training Fridays, and we're going to move passports, we're going to do division ops, we're going to do whatever. And that's why their incidents, sound the way they do. And that's why they go the way that they do, because they're getting everybody on the same page. There's no foreign language going on. Everybody's under one incident action plan, and it just makes sense. So they're not just doing anything just to do it. They're filling positions based off of what are the critical factors. And again, the known facts.
And that's one of the advantages of using a system to do this, is because it gives you the matrix to improve your incident operations all the time. So what they're doing with their Blue Card Fridays, that's kind of a natural evolution. And what they'll end up figuring out is, okay, we're going to start just doing after action reviews because they're a busy fire department. They get a lot of fires. So they have a lot of opportunity to input this and say, okay, how's this going to work better? Use this as an example. Well, you said it, the IC sent his partner to go be the division boss for the second floor because that was his main critical need at that time. I moved my on-deck crew inside to get closer to where the work's going on the second floor, and I need somebody in there to take my span of control for all that, and then it goes through them. So I got one person upstairs doing this. So we took that in our fire department 100 years ago and said, okay, we're going to practice this in our company training. And so we're going to actually put our stuff on and lay lines, and we're going to do it as realistic as we can. And we're going to put our driver on the second floor, and what's that look like? And we tried that and said, so you have options for the strategic level officers you have at your disposal. I think that was the better call than, say, taking the captain off. What was it? Engine 4 was the first one there, and he was still missing his crew. And he could have used that officer to do the same thing. But what happens is now you've taken the captain from Engine 4, and they don't have a captain anymore, so the company they're assigned to becomes a 5-person company. Putting that captain back puts that crew back together. It improves accountability across the fireground because everybody's doing their standard routine then, and then giving your aid up. That's better than having them sit there at that point in the operation next to you as a support officer because you already know where everybody is. I need a manager on the second floor. That's where we're going to go next. You're going to do that. A lot of times I would send my partner off, especially if I was the IC and I had a shitty view. I can't figure out what's going on. You got to go make sense of it for me. And a lot of times that was the difference is, okay, this is good. And now in the next 15 minutes, we're on the same page. We're going to end this. So, but that is the biggest value of this system is you can identify better ways to do your business always. See, and that's where the CE piece comes in and everything else. So it all works towards the same ends.
Engine 4 copy, going to the second floor with 3.
Command from Truck 6, where's Taser Charleston? Engine 10, command.
Engine 10, bye.
Engine 10, command, I'm setting up Division 2. It's going to be the Battalion 1-8. You're going to be reporting to Battalion 1-8. So Division 2 is going to be Engine 10, Engine 5, and Engine 4. You got that?
Engine 10, copy. Battalion 8 is Division 2. We'll be reporting to them.
Truck 1, we're preparing for vertical ventilation. Let us know if you want us to go. Command, copy, Truck 1. Stand by on that.
Standing by,
Division 2, command.
Division 2, bye.
Truck 1's ready for vertical ventilation. If it's your assessment that this is not in the attic, we'll go ahead with vertical ventilation. Let me know.
Copy that. Have them stand by just for a moment.
Command, Battalion 5's right.
Command from Division 2.
Go ahead, Division 2.
We're checking the attic and the main fire unit right now. Hold off on vertical ventilation. I'm going to need 2 additional units to check these units to the south for the main fire unit.
Copy that. Need 2 additional crews for the 2nd Division. Engine 1, command.
Engine 1.
Engine 1, you're going to report to Division 2, Battalion 1-8. He's on the northwest corner of the structure.
Copy. He's to the face-to-face right now.
Engine 5, Division 2.
Go for 5.
Engine 5, what's your location?
In the fire room.
Command copies, Engine 5's in the fire room.
Division 2 from Engine 10.
Division 2 by.
We pulled ceiling in the fire room. There is clean wood all above us. No extension that we can see.
Command copies, no extension in the attic. Break, Command, Division 2.
Go ahead, Division 2.
Command, we have no extension in the attic. We're going to hold off on vertical ventilation, no vertical ventilation.
Copy that. You want to hold off on vertical ventilation for now.
Also, Command from Division 2, do I have that second unit?
Division 2 Command, I gave you Engine 1 and Engine 12 is going to be coming over to you face-to-face now as well. You're going to have Engine 1 and Engine 12 in addition to 10, 5, and 4.
Division 2 copies. Engine 12 is my second unit.
Division 2, Engine 12.
Division 2 by.
You need any further equipment or anything else from us while we're en route to your location?
No, just bring your bodies and some personal tools. You're going to be on deck on this southwest corner.
Copy, southwest corner. Division 2 from Engine 1.
Division 2 by.
We're in with radio on the south side of Division 2, negative extension into the attic.
Division 2 copies, negative extension to that south side unit. Do you have any needs in there?
No needs.
Command from Division 2.
Go ahead, Division 2.
We have a knockdown. We're going to let this naturally ventilate for a little bit and clear up interior conditions. I'll work on a primary and secondary for you.
Command, copy, Division 2.
Engine 4 from Division 2.
Engine 4.
Engine 4, if you have a couple of spare bodies, can you give me a primary search?
We're still overhauling the fire right now.
Copy that. Keep doing what you're doing. Break Engine 10, Division 2.
Go for Engine 10.
Engine 10, if you can you give me a primary search of main fire unit?
You know, once that driver's aid got pushed forward, you know, verified what companies were working for them, got a can report from the company inside of what was going on. At that point, they had water on the fire, and then it became a question of, is it in the attic or not? He didn't think, he was a little bit closer to it, right? So we talk about that. Tactical bosses can kind of feel it, taste it, touch it. You're a little bit closer to it. You can see kind of what's going on, but you're not standing in it because you're not in the hot zone. So it was that, based off of what he had heard and what he was seeing, I don't think we need to open the roof up. So they held off on that. So when you send that truck to the roof, if you hadn't had that conversation before about, hey, you can go to the roof and get a roof report, but if I don't tell you to cut the hole, don't cut the hole. If you didn't have that before the fire, they're going to cut a hole in the roof. So those are things you got to talk about, like in that Command Friday training that they do. Like, what does the roof report really mean? Do I go up there and give you a roof report? Do I go up there and give you a roof report, cut a hole in the roof? Do I go up there and cut an inspection hole? What is that? So, you know, those things are all happening, you know, in that training that's connected all back to the system, because they're having those discussions about how they actually operate on the fireground. And that's what leads to the coordinated effort of the truck also heard water on the fire. And it's like, well, we probably don't need to do anything up here because they got water on the fire. And then they started checking for extension in some of those exposures. Well, they got all clean wood. Well, it's not in the attic then. It's not going anywhere. So, you know, all of that was coordinated. But back to the battalion, who was Division 2, had 3 companies working for him, had moved the on-deck company up like we had talked about, had asked for 2 other companies. So you heard Engine 12, after they got assigned, called Division 2 direct because they were going to the second floor, and it wasn't like they were just standing in the front yard going to move forward. Like, what do you need up there so that they don't go to the second floor and say, oh, I wish you would have brought a hand line or whatever, because they weren't told. So that's everybody working in the same system. Like, let's find out what exactly they need before we get up there. Well, we don't need anything. Just bring your hand tools with you. That's what we need. You're going to be on deck. So I think it's just a good example from, you know, start to finish of everybody working together, people being on the same page, understanding the system, building out the system based off the critical factors and the events that are actually occurring there. So I think, good order model throughout. I think it's just another good example that from a real fire department going to real fires.
Well, we get these discussions all the time on apartment buildings and complicated buildings. You were around my department this summer, and we were having this discussion about, if you've got a complicated building or you have multiple floors, where are you going to put people on deck? And I think this was a good example of he had an on deck location, even though he's up in Division 2, which is going to be, somewhat IDLH. He still had a clean location for the on deck position to go, and he verified that as the division boss, go on that southeast corner of the building, telling everybody exactly where they were going to go on deck, which I thought was really good. And that answers that question, right? It's the textbook way of doing it, and he was very clear on where the on deck position was.
And that added a whole nother level of accountability, and command verified more than one time to the tactical boss on the second floor of exactly what 5 companies had been assigned to him. So, it was great that the strategic IC knew who he had assigned there. And at that point, didn't really care what they were doing or exactly their exact location, just knew that those 5 were now working for Division 2. And from that point forward, that incident action plan for that geographic area is the responsibility of that person and that division. And they only report things back to command that, require a need or really a status change that's going to, maybe start to de-escalate the event, which in this case, this incident was starting to de-escalate. They had an all clear of some spaces. They didn't have fire extension anywhere. So command was aware of that, because command at this point still had a second alarm assignment that they were managing on a separate frequency that we didn't even hear. Getting that tactical boss there helped with that whole span of control, because there were companies on the first alarm that were still working for command, and then there were companies that had been assigned to the division boss, and then the entire second alarm was still, working for command, but on a separate frequency. So
one of the last podcasts we did, we talked about the IC and the way they communicate over the radio and being clinical and all of that. And this showed it is the IC never got excited. It sounded like he was just sitting in his living room watching TV, having a conversation. And I think the thing that produces that is the fact that they had all these conversations before this fire ever started, and they knew what their goal was before they ever went. So you kind of look at the way we keep ourselves ready to operate at that level. Like in the EMS world, we do it with, if I take a blood pressure, I got to be certified in that and keep my CE up for something as static and regular as that. So using that same system to manage our firefighting service delivery gives you the same benefit, is it improves those operations. You watch a football game today, any football game, when the offense isn't on the field, they're not standing around watching. They're looking at surface pads and doing the last play. It's okay, what are we going to do to improve this? So that's just kind of that's the same thing with us. Instead of another team, we're playing against the fire, basically. So that requires us to exercise and stay to have our readiness up there so we can do that all the time. Well, that doesn't happen by accident. I mean, the reason these guys did as well as they do is because they made it a point to do that by practicing, basically.
And that division piece is pretty new to them, right? I mean, sounds like they've been doing it forever, but that's really new to them since Blue Card, doing it in the way that the Blue Card way is.
Yeah, it's a newer model, and they grasp onto it, and it's interesting because you hear them say this is so much better, and it's like, well, yeah, it builds out an organization so that you can actually manage the event, so the event doesn't manage you.
The Las Vegas Fire Department knew how to put fires out before they met any of us. Mm-hmm. They've been doing it forever. In fact, when I went there, I thought, I'm at home. This looks just like where I came from. It's the same exact buildings. It's the same exact people. It's the same exact weather. The fire trucks are red. The water is clear. They knew all about fire behavior. It's just, how do we organize in a better way that it's like doing less better is really kind of what the point of it is. And that's what Blue Card is. So they say, well, no, it's this Uber safety thing. No, it isn't. It's Mike Tyson in the gym practicing to knock your ass out. A Blue Card department will outperform somebody who just, that we do this recreationally. Mm-mm.
Tactical truth, and this is pulled at random from the deck of cards from Alan Brunacini. We've got 52 of them here. Get them at the B Shifter store. And today it's the Jack of Diamonds. The Jack of Diamonds says, whoever shows up first is the only person who can really assume command and effectively trigger the beginning of the command system in a standard way. Whoever shows up first is the only person who can really assume command and effectively trigger the beginning of the command system in a standard way.
We just listened to a tape where IC number 1 started command. IC number 2 got there 4.5 minutes later, and it was seamless because IC 1 set it up. Pretty easy. If IC1 would have boogered that up, that wouldn't have gone as smooth because IC2 would have had to fix a bunch of wrinkles before they were able to move forward effectively.
I look back at the fires that I went to early in my career where engine 1 would say, we've got a fire, and that was it. And it would take IC number 2, the chief, 10 or 15 minutes to unravel what has happened here, who is where, because no one assumed command really at the beginning. Yeah. You know, that's the difference.
Yeah, and let's describe assuming command. I mean, assuming command isn't I got there and I'm in charge because I've got the most bugles or the whitest hat or, whatever. Establishing command is you got there, you evaluated what is the problem, and then you started to put things into place and put an instant action plan into place to solve that problem, going through, again, that strategic decision-making model of evaluate critical fireground factors, how's that fit into the risk management plan, all the way through that cycle. And it's not just I'm here and I'm in charge and that we do the same thing. So communicating that incident action plan is the power of that strategic IC arriving in the car of here. And this was what was described. This is the problem. These are the things that have been done already. What do I need to do to support that? But what else has not been done? I mean, that's truly establishing command and working through solving the problem, not just the model of, well, when we get there, we just do what we do. And most of the time, something is not getting done, or you're doing things that you don't need to do. It's the EMS incident. I say this all the time. We don't go to chest pains and say, you're getting shocked today. We evaluate the patient. And if you need to get shocked, we're going to shock you. But it's not just one size fits all. And the fires should be no different.
Well, the other part of it, too, is just command doesn't slow you down. There's sometimes you want to slow the operation down because it just needs to be slowed down. But when you think about it, engine 4 gets there and they're going to take command. They're going to be the IC. Well, when it's cooking and okay, I'm going to need a water supply, before you ever key the mic, you're going to stop at the hydrant, you're going to hook up to it, you're going to drive to the scene. So I was a firefighter in this system. Our evolution was if you laid a supply line and then advanced the hand line 150 feet, you could do that in about 2 minutes. Stopping, laying, pulling, dragging. That never slowed you up. We went as fast as we could. So 2 minutes after you get to the scene, you're flowing water onto the seat of the fire. Well, your captain's giving the initial radio report right now. So all of this is taking command doesn't slow the fire attack down if you have, that's why we say 4-person staffing, because you can do that then. Well, if they show up one at a time, that's going to look different. So you got to manage the deployment of your fire department. That's what Blue Card's for. It makes you more efficient and effective. The other thing is, you could hear it in the last tape, is they're holding people in stage positions. The last thing you want to do when there's nothing showing is have a herd of elephants running through the building. Everybody's coordinating what's going on. And one of those instances, it started with nothing showing and moved to a working fire. Well, you start making a bunch of flow paths and not managing that, and all of a sudden you got 2 or 3 crews inside. Some may have lines, some may not. And now we got active fire that just flashed. Well, you should expect some grief from that at some point. It wouldn't be unsuspecting to hear a mayday come out of that. Well, when you're under control all the time, you eliminate that from happening, and then you put the fire out. So 7 minutes into it, you're not screwing around looking for it. You found it, you put it out, and now you're de-escalating. That's what Blue Card does for you.
All right, guys, good show today. Thanks. If somebody has audio, you're getting some audio clips. Vegas, of course, is a great example of a Blue Card department in an urban area getting it done. If people have audio clips they want to send in to us, you can either email Josh or I in the show notes, or if you're a Blue Card department, you're a Blue Card instructor, you can go to the upload center on your dashboard and send us the audio that way too.
No matter how you send it to us, you guys have listened to plenty of podcast stuff now. we don't put anybody, out there on the deep fryer. We use good stuff. And I mean, even if everybody's not nailing everything 100%, right? So, I mean, sometimes people get scared of that. Like, oh, I don't want those guys to, embarrass us or whatever. But I mean, we're not going to do that. We're trying to share good examples of real incidents. So yeah, if you have something, please share it. And I don't want to let this go because none of this would happen if our producer editor John Vance wasn't doing this. So we've been at this a long time. We've been at it, I don't know, 18 months or now on the podcast. So I want to thank John for all the work that you do on that. Cause
I feel like Jerry Todd now on SCTV. I don't know if you ever remember that bit, but he was a host of a music video show, but he was also running all the controls. So it looks like the Jerry Todd show sometimes, but it's all of our shows. I appreciate that. It's a lot of fun. And now that we're on video, it's even more fun.
Woohoo. Well, and there's people sending video or audio now that are saying, hey, do not use this. We're just letting you know this happened.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of video or audio. We're not going to, it stays between us. In fact, if you send it in and say, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, well, that's what we'll do. It's up to you. Let us know how you want us to use it when you send it.
We're in the trust nest here.
We are, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, we're not here to make people look bad. We're here to improve all of our lives.
Well, until next time, fellas, thanks. Appreciate everybody joining us.